2020.
Yep, we're good to go.
Did everybody have a chance to go over the December
Yeah.
minutes? Yeah. Okay, need a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Second? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes carried forward. So down to new business. Select chairperson for 2020.
Fro? Not for, Fro.
Well,
Fro.
we always bring this up, always in the beginning of the year. I know that Liza, you've been the chairperson. I always ask if you would like to do the job yet again, or if somebody else wants to step forward, that would be fine too.
If you're still comfortable with it.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually been good for me.
Good. All right.
Come on,
And thank
myself
you.
a little bit.
Thank you very much. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah, you bet. No problem.
So I think you probably wanna make a motion.
Motion,
and-
second on that, yeah.
I'll make a motion that Liza be chairperson.
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? So motion carries.
Another year.
Another year.
Okay.
I'll do it. All right, set wages for 2020. Casson Aquatic
Okay.
Center.
Before we go any farther, I'm gonna first of all introduce, our new city administrator, Tim Ibish.
Ibish, yeah, nice to meet you.
He's from,
Yeah.
Bluebird.
Nice to meet you.
Liza?
I'm Liza.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Dan?
Roger Frank.
Raj?
Chuck Coleman.
Chuck, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Chuck.
Okay.
Welcome to the city.
Yeah,
Well, thank you very
welcome.
much. Hopefully, I had my meeting last Monday was planning and zoning, so I'm hoping that maybe this one will be a little bit, more,
Shorter, yeah.
forward-looking there, but it was all right. This is good. No, I'm excited. We have a great park system here, and I think it's definitely going in the right direction, so I'm excited to hear about everything that you guys are up to, so.
Okay. Sounds good. Then we can go into wages here if you want to do your quick.
Sure, that's
Okay.
wages.
Wages for the 2020 Casson Aquatic Center employees. Right now, we're looking at, first of all, we're looking at probably close to 60 to 65 kids, maybe about 5 or maybe 5-10 short than we had last year. There still might be a few left that still might be some that, worked last year or whatever, that still might have to get their apps in, but,
I'm sorry, was that because you didn't get enough applications, that's why you're short? Short from last year,
Basically,
or are you gonna
we got plenty
stick
of
it?
applications. I did 34 interviews I did.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had plenty from new people coming in. We just didn't get a lot returning back.
And Ron, you just usually interview the new
Just the new
people?
ones,
Okay.
yeah, just the new
Okay.
ones, yep, we just interviewed them, and then we interviewed, for the supervisor's positions and stuff like that, so, there might be a few, there's a couple girls I know that I think are coming back, they're playing hockey, and it's just one thing after another for sports, so we'll see what all happens. But anyway, of course, we had to set our wages again, and the cost of living went up 14 cents, based on us being a larger employer. Last year, we set our concession stand wage was at $9.86, so that would put it up to $10 for 2020 for concession workers. Lifeguards, last year we had $10.61, with 14 cents we went to $10.75 for this year. All WSIs, water safety instructors were at $11.61, so we went to $11.75. Supervisors were at $13.36, we went to $13.50. And manager was at $18.10 and went to $18.24. So that 2020, we each gave them a 14-cent raise based on the 14-cent increase in cost of living. Okay. There has been a cost of living here now, I think, the last 3 years. I think that's what
State law
State law.
mandates that now. They basically have it's coded to the cost of living in COLA.
COLA and stuff.
So your minimum wage just keeps rising with that usually.
Right. So with that, I think we need a motion and a second to set the wages for this coming summer for the aquatic center.
All right, so we need a motion to, the manager's pay would be $18.24, excuse me. Supervisor would be $13.50. WSIs will be $11.75. Lifeguards, $10.75. Concession stand workers, $10 an hour.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? So the wages are carried over. hire Captain Aquatic Center managers, supervisors, head lifeguards.
Okay. First of all, we got lucky again, and we got our manager coming back again, Josh Mitchell. I know that Tim's got a chance to meet Josh, here, whatever, and that stuff, but, Josh has done I think a really pretty good job in the last 3-4 years at our aquatic, and the kids, I think, really relate good to him. So I think we're very fortunate to be able to have him come back again. His teacher's still incredible, and that stuff, but, I would like to make sure he gets hired again, for the 2020 season.
I'm sorry again, but is he living in town here, or is he?
He lives in Dodge Center, yeah.
Oh, he lives in
Yep,
Dodge
he
Center.
makes
So
the
that's
journey
not-
back and
That's not a
forth.
bad drive then.
No, and he's here 5-10 minutes away anytime, whatever, and that stuff, and, he's kinda made that a written rule to all the supervisors. I mean, even if he's not there during the work day or something like that, or a shift where he's already put his time in, he's only a phone call away and he'd come right over. And he also works part-time over at the Hubble House over there in Mansell, when he works in the summer here. So, he carries 2 jobs. So, as far as supervisors goes, we got 2 returning, out of the 4 or 5 that we hired. First of all, Abby Chosis, she is gonna do our lifeguard safety, our lifeguard training class again for new lifeguards, which is really nice. Her brother, Braden, is gonna stay in North Dakota this year at school, so he's not gonna be coming back. But Abby's gonna be here, but she's gonna be on a limited basis all summer long. Pretty much gonna work probably in the beginning part of the season for helping in registrations and helping getting things going here with the pool. Besides that, she's getting married. She just got a new job. She's teaching out here to the high school now as a teacher and stuff. She's got lots of things going on this year, particularly the wedding. But like, I talked to her and I talked to Josh. Next year she'll probably come back for a summer job and things will be a little bit more better for her. But I just want to make sure she's still on our roster as far as a manager, as a supervisor. Jared Johnson's coming back. I think this is going to be his 5th year. Awesome guy. I mean, he goes the extra boundaries to do everything and anything. I wouldn't even be scared to even put him as a manager if Josh would ever not want to do it. He's a great person. He's a go-getter. So he's coming back. Good for that. We have 3 new ones then. Grace Warden was interviewed, and she is one. Christine Farnberg, Farnberg. She's been here for 3 or 4 years, or 4 years, going on 5. And Madeline Larson is the other one. Not Madeline.
I was gonna say, what?
Not her daughter.
The
We have
other
two-
one,
We have 2
okay.
Madeline Larsons.
Great.
But Madeline is gonna be the other. They really interviewed well. Josh had nothing but good praise for him for working over the years. And I really go by what he does. He's working with them every day, and that's who we chose. The head lifeguard swim team coaches, first of all, then would be Destiny Anderson. She's been here 4 years, and then Brody Hagee. Brody, and he was gonna help out too. So them are the kind of our main people that are involved up at the Aquatic Center. We rotate, of course, shifts, and we need that kind of supervisor stuff up there because lots of times Josh is not there, he gets his hours in and certain shifts and stuff. So we really had a good system and it's worked out real well. So with these names that I just gave, I think if anybody doesn't have, if anybody's got any concerns or anything on anybody or you know of or questions or anything on these people, the kids here.
I do have to say I've heard very good things about Jared.
Yeah, it's a
Very good
super
thing.
guy. Yeah, super worker, so.
Great.
So we may need a motion and a second to at least hire these people right away because they will be involved in the registration process starting in early April. And the pool don't open till June, so we need to have them go.
All right, do we have a motion then? Do you want me to name them again? Okay.
I'll make the motion to hire everybody.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carried.
And like I said, the interview process is a great thing over at Christmas break. It really works well, especially for all the new kids that wanna come in, and then trying to figure out who we wanna have from previous years to go into supervisors when we use them, so it really works out nice for us.
All right, tree maintenance.
Tree maintenance, I just kinda wanted to kinda touch base on kind of our tree program, that we have a lot of stuff to do yet this winter. Hopefully we can get some days here without some snow and some cold, but we do have a lot. We have a tree removal list, we have a tree trimming list, and we also have an Emerald Ash Borer, management program, ash tree removal list. For as far as tree removals that people called in during the summer, spring, fall, that we usually do all of our maintenance from November to March, we have 30 total trees we have to remove. That's not ashes, that's just 30 trees on boulevards. Tree trimming, we have 25 total trees. That also includes South Manorville Avenue out here. We did in front of Casey's. If anybody's seen the trees that are trimmed up, we still got to finish South Manorville Avenue.
When are they gonna dig that up? Oh, no, they're not doing this part,
No.
they're doing the part on the
The
other
north
side.
part, yep. So that-
2021.
So
Yeah,
that'll be kinda nice
2021.
after talking to the gentleman from the state, whatever, I mean, they don't
Yeah.
mind us trimming the trees, it actually helps them out. And then once that project from 34 all the way out to 11th Avenue goes, most of them trees are gonna be
Mhm.
gone. I'd say pretty much
Oh, yeah.
99% of them are gonna be gone. So whatever the state decides to plant back on that street would be up to them, but at least we'll have South Manorville Avenue
Mm.
trimmed up, and it should look really nice there. So that's kind of the tree maintenance, what we have to do here from now until probably the end of March. Okay? I'll let you know.
Stump grinding and all that, just.
Stump grinding will be done in the spring, summer.
Spring,
Usually when
summer.
we do the removals, whatever, we let the people know, or the people there, that, hey, we'll come back and grind your stump, and, we'll fill it with dirt, and we'll grass seed it, and, it should be good. As far as that Emerald Ash Borer, just to let you know, we still had 109 ash trees left on boulevards in the citywide yet. We've taken down 114 already. So I think within the next couple, 2 or 3 years, within 3 years, we should have all of our ash trees gone off the boulevards. So that's good, so we don't have to worry about the bug hurting the tree. The only problem will be, and like I mentioned before, 3 to 5 years will be the private property in the backyards. That's where the city will have to take precedence and implement our EAB management plan, and we as a city have to, I may not see it, but someone's gonna have to walk into that yard and.
You ain't going anywhere.
Oh, yeah, I will. But they'll have to walk in the yard and let them know, you know, that, you know, we gotta make sure that we keep everybody safe and stuff. Public safety is a big concern for them trees, so, and before I leave, we'll get that all situated and get it figured out how we're gonna do it all, so, but anyway, that's our Emerald Ash trees, board trees, okay?
All right, an old business update on Stonewall and Veterans Memorial Park.
This is, I just wanted to talk here, not really talk, I just wanted to give it over to kinda, Tim, cause Tim's been kinda working on it, I've been kinda working on it, I know Janet's been working on it, I know also that, Dan's been working on it, so I just thought maybe I'd let Tim talk a little bit first about it, and see his views.
Sure. Well, I know I've talked to a couple people about it, and just coming in from outside of the city, you know, I know I've kind of read up a little bit on the conversations, and I know it's kind of been up and down a little bit, you know, but, I did ask, Ron to do a little bit of research on what they did, some years ago when they did some repair work there. So, which is nice, because I do have kind of the scope of work there, so if we did want to kind of do a sort of, you know, some sort of repair, you know, in the interim period, that's something that we would kind of have a good understanding of what we would need to do. Dan had given me a list of some contacts he has for some materials, and also possibly some people to work on some of these things too. So I know, you know, what I'm looking at is, you know, in the fullness of time, the council is gonna make their decision, of course, you know, and I think they've set out some guidelines, for what they'd like to see happen. But I know that there are some things that have been done in other cities, you know, in Blue Earth, one of the things we did was we did utilize the legacy fund quite a bit. We have a Green Giant Welcome Center, and so that is something that I think, you know, certainly we'd have to work with our local political representation, and, you know, hopefully they'd be interested in helping us with that, because it's, you know, you have to go and testify at the Legacy Committee, and you have to testify at the Legacy Committee in the House, and you have to testify in the Senate. So it is a pretty involved process. It takes a lot of trips up there. You know, I know there's a kind of a historical preservation group which is interested. I think we would definitely want to utilize their expertise and knowledge to help testify. But for something, you know, like of the size that we're talking, I mean, obviously not all of that's going to be coming from the state. So additional, you know, financing is going to be required. But I do think it could be a portion of the money. I mean, we got a grant for the new building. It was $1 million building. We got about $300,000 from the state, and then the city ended up chipping in $200,000. They raised $200,000, and the rest of it was from an EVA loan. So that's kind of how we paid for that museum. So it's got to be, you know, and the state's going to say, what are you going to chip in? Before we're going to give you a dime, we want to see a match. We want to see, you know, something like that. But I do think that this project could potentially be a very good fit for that request, because legacy money is already allocated. It's not coming from regular tax revenue, so it's always a little bit easier for the politicians to say, here's your trail, or here's your gimme kind of thing, you know. So I think that's definitely something that I'd like to check on pursuing. In the meantime, you know, we definitely want to review all the documentation we have from what was done previously, and seeing if we can't perhaps extend the life of the current structure a little bit longer. I know that some people have commented and already said that they're trying to do some private fundraising. They may have some donors lined up, and that's great. That's fantastic, because that shows that support from the community. Because, you know, Dan can attest to the fact that the council has a lot of things on their plate. You know, the I&I infrastructure, these housing developments, I mean, there are a lot of really big items and expensive items that are going to be taking some of those funds away. So we're going to have to see that the public is really interested in preserving it. But I think it's doable. I went through it today. I took a look at the wall, and I think at least the vast majority of it is preservable. There may be some alterations to that may have to be done, because some of those structurally, you know, it's almost a matter of, I think one of them section, you know, it's just about done. So I don't know, but I think the bulk of it is very, very preservable. So that's my goal, is to try and see if we can come to some sort of a conclusion that's good for as many people as possible, because that's what we want. We want people to be happy about the product at the end. So anyway, sorry, Ron, if I stole your thunder there, but I just, you know, we're just taking a look at it right now, and I think, like I said, I'd like to get a hold of our state representative and talk to, you know, Senator Sedgwick. He's a senior senator, and they have the majority, the Republicans have the majority in the Senate side, so he'll have a little bit more leverage than the representatives on the House side would have. But so, anyway, that's what I've got on that. So.
Basically, council just looking for options. So they wanted to come back here, and they're looking to see how much people are willing to come up with. And, you know, like Tim says, we don't have the money in the budget right now. The city don't. We got a lot of other projects we got to get done, but we want to work and see what we can do with the wall, and see if what we can do. When I met with Tim, he come up with that, like say, that legacy. That was something that we never thought of, so it was kind of a nice new insight. It's kind of so we got chances, you know, and we want to talk to the engineer a little bit and see.
That's a good point too, Dan. I'm glad you brought that up. So I do have a meeting set for Thursday with our city engineer, just to talk to him and see what his thoughts are as well, because I haven't had a chance to touch base with him yet. You know, one issue is when you start to get, you know, engineers involved, that just means that your cost is, you know, it's going to go up. You know, and that's not saying anything against the engineers, but, you know, they don't work for free, and so I kind of want to try and balance the needs there. But I mean, I do want to see what his perspective on it is. So.
Because I mean, they've got some people that can look at it and say, this maybe ain't as bad as we think, because we don't know.
Right. But
they can look at it, you know, building restoration like that. They can give us ideas and say, oh, maybe we can get by a little longer with a couple things now. See if we can get some more money, see if we can get more public funding, and then see if we can come back with another go around. So that's kind of where the council's at. We want to see all our options. We don't want to just give up it. So.
Anybody else? Jan, do you have anything on your side?
Just wondering about this legacy grant. I did
Sure.
email about that.
Yeah.
How's the funding going? I know that you were kind of.
The GoFundMe is kind of stuck right now, but
Okay.
there's some things gonna happen. It'll be in the paper.
Okay.
The paper was very willing to donate a quarter-page ad.
Nice.
And in the DCI and the Advantage. So it'll get in the DCI this week and Advantage next week. I was very surprised when they said they would donate that. He contacted me and said we'd do it. I was like, wow, okay.
Okay.
So, I'm taking him up on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And stuff. I did set up a table at the festival and park breakfast. Didn't have too good a response from the people there. The festival people weren't too impressed with us being there, but we have permission. I did get some donations, and a lot of people asked, like I had one guy, he asked, how did this get started? And I said, well, Ron Unger just had somebody to look at it. I said, he didn't mean anything by it, just having somebody to look at it, you know, and they said, and then it kind of went from there and stuff, and somebody else said, well, just a short deadline, that's not right, and so we got a few comments that way and stuff, and so I just said, you know, this is what they came up with, and but I got some donations, and we're gonna set up again, steak supper
Okay,
and stuff, and see what we can go.
sounds good. Sounds good. Anybody else got anything added to it? Hey, so like I said, can we just kind of wait and hear on your part here and?
Yeah, so as I said, my next step will be talking to the engineer, and then I think, you know, like I said, sometimes this does take time, especially with legacy, because there may be that you don't even get it in the first year. You know, I mean, sometimes that happens with bonding projects too, it's the same kind of thing. You're gonna take this up there, they're gonna go, okay, we have X amount of money, and this is the priority list, and unfortunately, a lot of times, a lot of that money goes into the metro. You know, that's just the truth of it. I remember the year we went up and testified, and we were fortunate because our state representative was the chair of the legacy committee that year. So I knew I had a pretty good shot at getting it in the bill. But White Bear Lake got like $1 million trail paid for. And I was like, okay, you know how many other projects, you know, a trail in White Bear Lake, they couldn't pay for it themselves. You know, we really just don't have the money out here, you know. But, so anyways, there's nothing against, you know, anybody, but I mean, we can certainly try, and like I said, you know, Senator Senjum, I'm sure his office will be very helpful.
Senator Nelson.
That was
Charlotte Nelson.
Is she, well, yeah, on the south side of Rochester too, right? Yeah, I mean, both are senior senators there on that side, and then the House will be a little bit harder, but you just gotta get in one or the other, and then you can kinda, they go to conference committee and they'll hash it out, and hopefully your project is included, so that's kind of the way it goes.
I've been up there lobbying a few times, I know a few of them.
Sure, no, I mean, the other good thing is the representative from Blue Earth, Bob Gunther, who's on the legacy committee, he's retiring at the end of this year, but he'll still be on the, you know, he'll be on the House committee again. So, I mean, worst case scenario, I can talk to him if our own representative isn't as open to it. I'm sure they will, because these are good projects, and we're not asking for the moon and stars or anything like that, you know, it's just a little bit of help. Which is why getting a good local match and showing that local commitment is gonna be so important. So, because, you know, they're not gonna give you nothing for, you know, something, I mean, you gotta show them the money first, so.
Well, I guess, I just thought of something here. If the destruction bid is $4,000, and then if it doesn't get tore down, can the city donate that $4,000 to this project then? It's gonna cost you $4,000 to tear it down anyway, so.
Well, I think that's definitely something the council will take a look at,
You know.
is what kind of discretionary funds they have available. I mean, obviously, you know, we'll hopefully have our audit finished from 2019 here in the early summer, you know, by June 1st. I mean, I'm hoping to have at least a draft audit, you know, because Nancy, of course, has done all those financials, and she knows a lot better than I do right now where their fund balance is gonna be. But I think that's something the council, because I mean, I think the council expects to contribute a certain amount, whether it's part of demolition, which, you know, we don't necessarily want, but we have to be realistic, or if it's part of, you know, trying to fix it. I think that and I know, Dan and I talked about that, you know, I think the council's very cognizant that, you know, they're gonna be wanting to help one way or the other with this project, so.
So if we get more donations, the better off we'll be.
And I mean, yeah, I mean, every little bit helps, that's all it's gonna be, you know, it's just nickel and dimes. It took us 6 years to raise the $200,000 for the Green Giant Museum local match, and, you know, so it's not immediate, you know, it just isn't,
Right.
so.
All right, anything else? All right, Tree City USA update.
Okay, I'm gonna hand out the Tree City, budget stuff here, what we.
You cut them mostly down, Ron, that's what I sound like.
What's that?
No, I'm just kidding. Cut all the extras.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. The Grass City USA.
There we go.
We get plenty of comments like that one. Road, we're in street projects.
Oh, sure.
We're Tree City, remember that?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this is our initial tree budget and our work, and the second page is our work project that part of the Tree City USA that I have to send in to the National Arbor Day Foundation. It goes up to the state first, they okay it, and then they send it off to the Arbor Day Foundation, and then, like I say, this is part of our whole project. But I just kinda wanted to give you an idea basically of what we're doing out there, of how many hours we're spending, stuff like that on our tree work. This was last year, of course, of 2019. As you can see, the city has bases of $70 per hour, $25 per man to just use the line truck, the load and the dump truck. And everything that we do, any tree maintenance of removal or trimming, we got all three trucks doing it, no matter what. So that's basically what we're looking at. We keep track of our hours as far as tree and stump removal, and we put in 152 total hours last year doing the removals and stump grinding, excuse me. Then you can see our supplies. I keep track of all the supplies that we need, chainsaw, topsoil for the stumps, putting back in, stuff like that. Supplies is part of grass seed, so that's part of that whole tree stump removal. They want it all broken up as you, to show. Our tree maintenance, first of all, we took down 26 trees and did 26 stumps last year. Tree pruning and trimming, we did 16. Same thing, I mean, we're all involved using the same equipment and that stuff as far as that goes, as trimming goes. Not as many hours, it don't take as long to trim trees. We get up there and takes a few branches off, whatever and stuff, as you can see that. Our tree planting was huge this year. The reason why is because we planted 82 trees on that 3rd, 4th, and 5th Avenue project.
Oh, sure.
We did, so them are all big ball and burlap trees. The
Have those trees been out through the contract for the street project, or no?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of people, well, we really didn't, we used our for 3rd Avenue, we used our tree company that does all of our boulevard tree planting, you know, this tree house down by Iowa. We used Todd, and so he planted only, as you can see, Todd planted so many trees for the boulevard tree program, and then I think he only planted like about 15 trees on 3rd Avenue because that had sidewalk. So that was a bare root stock tree.
Sure.
The ball and burlap trees are the ones that went into the boulevards where there's no sidewalk, so we can move them back 12 foot for our right-of-way, so they were a nice bigger tree. But the gentleman right across the street, we want to try to stay as local as we can to help the business and stuff, so Gibbs Lawn Service, they're the ones that did all, they went up to the cities, up to Bailey's and different places, got all the ball and burlap trees, brought them back down, and then took them in, put them all in.
Very good.
So that's where we come up with the money there. Arbor Day trees, of course, we planted 2 trees down to Lions Park, whatever, and we had a good, nice showing there of the Lion members planting the trees. They do that every year, the last Friday in April. We buy the trees local. We go out to Houston's and buy a couple trees and plant them there. Stakes and flag markings, of course, down here at the local store. So we have a total of $48,000. Normally, that's not that high. We have a little slighter, but it's never that big project. Our management, I figure out how many hours I put into working with the trees and stuff, take my wages. Administrative wages is Jan, she does all the help with me as billing and all that other stuff. Arbor Day Foundation with $15. Tree care registration, the state, we're registered tree care in Dodge County. And then our tree inspector workshop, we have 6 guys that go down to and have to have 6 continuing education credits, and we have to take each continuing education credits. We have to 6.5 hours per year, so we go down to a tree inspector workshop either in Rochester or over in Waukesha. And that total that, and then our MLS board program, we took down 20 ash trees last winter. And then that's what we did on ash tree maintenance, and they like to know what we're doing with emerald ash borer. The state does probably not more than, not Arbor Day, but the state forester, when I send that up there, they want to kind of see what we're doing for.
Did you get any grant money for that from the state programs?
No, we did not.
Okay.
No, we didn't. I know some communities, but most of the community money, like you said before, goes to the.
Metro.
Yeah, to the metro, yeah. So total off, we had $127,000 involved in forestry. It doesn't seem that way, you know, but like I say, when you put the hours in and what the cost is, it adds up. It really does. To be Tree City USA, we have to make $3 per capita per person. That's our standard. So if we have
We're
six.
covered.
We're covered.
For like 4 years.
For years and years. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you. And then on the second page, I can show you the tree work plan. That's kind of really basically the thing that I like to show you is we had the Arbor Day event, which I know Chuck is a line member. On April 22nd, 26th, excuse me, we had 12 line members come down. They always have done a great job of doing that. They've been involved in that now for 8 or 9 years in a row now. And then the park board members are all invited, so is council, and I know that Liza and Greg, and sometimes, you know, they all show up for the Arbor Day celebration, because that's part of being Tree City USA. We have to have an annual Arbor Day event. So, with that, I'll try to kind of keep you guys up to date on this every year as far as what we're doing with our trees, because it is important, and you guys are the governing body of our Tree City USA program. It's the park board. Yep, without the park board, because when I send all this in, I got all you guys' names on here. They want to know if the park board, people, because you are the board for the Tree City USA, it's park board. And then Dan, of course, is the council liaison, so he's the one you don't invest with, so, okay? And you're the chairman, and don't they send stuff to you?
No, they don't.
They haven't sent anything, huh? They have, I have to really give your address and everything to you.
Oh,
For
wow.
you, yeah, so.
I was given the wrong address.
Yeah, maybe he did.
Your neighbor's going?
Yeah.
What is this?
So with that, do you guys have any questions on any of the Tree City Park?
I have one.
Yes, Roger.
On the ash trees, how many are treated? You know, like.
Right now in town, we have just around 20 boulevard trees right now being treated. And that program started probably about 5 years ago. And of course, to let Tim know, we entered in agreements for the people that wanted to inject their trees. We went into a 10-year program with them.
Okay.
And they have to inject them every 2 years. The city pays half cost of them injections for anyone that wanted to save their ash trees.
Okay.
Yep, and that stuff. Once the 10 years is up, then it's gonna be put on the homeowner itself to keep the tree.
Sure.
Anytime during them 10 years, if the city, the homeowner does not wanna treat it no more, they just get a hold of me, which I just did. Terry McCann on Fifth called me and they don't wanna do it no more. So then I put him on the list to remove the
Terry,
tree.
okay.
Yep, so just to let you know on that part, we still got that 10-year thing going.
I did talk to a couple people that treated, that they're on their own property, and they did it for like 1 or 2 years, and decided that it was overwhelming, and they hadn't removed this winter.
Yep,
They said it just was, they're not keeping ahead.
right.
It's-
And it's not cheap, by no means. Some of them range, I mean, they take $10 to $12 per inch, per girth, you know, the
Yep.
tree per inch, and you end up having a 20-inch tree, you're looking at, you're looking at quite a bit of money, $250 to treat the tree every 2
Yeah.
years, you know?
And it's not a guarantee.
It isn't, right, I mean, in the long run, most of those are probably gonna come down,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
right, so.
Mine's good so far.
Well, good.
Yeah, but I just know, I've talked to some people, and they said that,
I lose that one, then I don't have anything, cause I lost one 2 years ago. Not an ash one, but a different one, a
A
maple.
different one, a maple, yep,
So I have no trees
yeah.
in the front.
So Roger's one.
I've got one that's big in my front
Roger,
yard.
yep.
Tall tree. Then I have like 7 monster oaks in the backyard. That makes me nervous when they go down.
Yeah.
So, other than that,
I mean, Ron, do you feel overwhelmed? Man, I see all this, and I just think to myself, gosh, that's a lot of time, man-hours going into those projects. I mean, that's just weeks and weeks.
When we need him.
there's a park board member that always says that we should have a
Have a
forestry
forestry
department.
I was gonna step in for Greg, and
I
I was
know
gonna
that.
make a motion, and then we get a
That's
forest.
on here, that we already have one,
It says
city
city
forester,
of
reminder.
Forester.
We
Yeah.
don't need a
The one here.
forester,
That night.
we have one.
I've been doing it, you know, for a long time, and it gets to be quite a bit between that, to this, to that, but it is what it is, and we just.
Well, we just gotta do the best we can.
Yeah, that's
all
what we
you can
do.
do with these, you know.
Yep, that's what we do, and there's, like I say, it depends on the winter. You know, tree maintenance is a huge thing here. We don't like taking trees down during the summer, because it causes so much damage.
Sure.
And people understand that. Storm damage is one thing, but when it comes to winter, between the months of November and March, if we get an opportunity to get in.
With the
we do
big
something.
hailstorm, did you see a lot of downed trees, or was it?
You know, we're
pretty-
very fortunate because, to be honest with you, we've had an aggressive tree maintenance program in this town.
Got a lot of the worst ones out already.
We got a lot of bad ones
Sure.
down, so that helped out a lot. And we don't have a lot of pines around this area, you know, where storm damage or heavy snows, whatever, hurt us a lot of
Yeah.
times. A lot of them are all gone. But we had back in the seventies, I know before I started here and that stuff, they took down almost close to 300 Dutch elm trees, you know. And then just on that third, fourth, and fifth project, we took down 280 trees
Sure.
to do a street project. So there's a lot of trees, but then again, in 30 years, we planted probably 1,800 trees on Boulevard again. So we
Mhm.
replanted to what we've taken down,
Sure.
and then some. So we've been an active city tree.
Sounds great.
So other than that, anybody else have any questions on the tree stuff? No? Okay.
Okay. Correspondence, anything else?
Yeah, I do have a couple things here on correspondence that I wanted to make sure let everybody know. The Lions members would like to put a park bench and a plaque dedicated to one of their Lion Park members, that passed away. His name was Pete Peterson here, about a week or two ago, I think he passed away. And we've done that in the past. We did it at the library, where, you know, if someone would like to put a nice bench in or whatever and put a plaque or dedicate something. I know that James Christensen was the one that we put a bench next to our playground modular at the library up there. The whole family paid for the bench and paid for the plaque, and then all we had to do was just mount it and, you know, put the cement in to do it. So, with that, I went back to the nice benches, what they are. They're that nice poly, they're nice, that recycled poly stuff. They're not a cheap, type thing. You're looking at about, probably, I told, Chuck tonight, about $750 to get a real nice bench put in there, with a plaque. And we do have a new playground modular around the new picnic shelter down in the Lions Park, which, you know, we can find a nice spot there along the playground modular or whatever to have a permanent bench put in there. So I just wanted to ask you guys, as a park board, what's your thought about it, or what do you feel?
Of course, I'm a little biased here because I'm lying.
Yeah, right.
But
I mean, if they're
I would
willing
just-
to buy it and donate it, and it's just a little bit of time to put it in, I think it's a good thing for the city. And
Well, what do you think the cost of concrete will be? Because there will be a cost.
Yeah, it'll be a cost. It'll be probably minimal, because I do know that I do have some cement work for our local cement guy that
You
does
could
our
fix
work
it in
for
with
us.
one of those bid projects, that would be
Yeah.
fine. Because if you're just having to come do that by itself, it's gonna be more expensive. But you can work it in with some of those things you have, Ron. I think it sounds good to me.
Yeah, that sounds like a good deal. So if everybody's kind of in favor for it, I'll just, I'll give Bob Lean,
Give him a call,
I'll give
yeah.
Bob Lean a call and just say, here's the pricing, you guys decide what you wanna do, and we'll get something going on it. Does that sound okay?
Yeah. We got a meeting next Monday.
Okay, I'll try to get a
I'll
hold of
actually,
tomorrow and.
I'll actually go to this one.
Okay, I will text you and let you know what Bob, or if Bob can get, I'll just do whatever, somewhere somehow, so
Yep.
get communicated, okay.
Okay.
Okay. And then the last thing, whatever, I received in the mail last Friday afternoon a really nice donation from the Cass Manville Girls Softball Association. They donated $500, whatever, for all the work that we did for them last summer, on the ball fields, striping and stuff, which was really nice. I know Cass Manville baseball, I think, gave us $1,500 the year before, and I know the youth football group usually comes in for $300 to $500 also too. And me and Tim had a great conversation about that, about other groups trying to put money back into our system, whatever, and that stuff, because I know he's dealt with it up there at Blue Earth and stuff, and hopefully we can keep that good thing going with the groups and stuff like that, because it's costly to maintain the fields and to do it. It's not cheap anymore, so, but.
Not meaning to make the meeting go long, but how's the hockey rink going?
Hockey rink?
Yeah.
Well, hockey rink so far,
I haven't heard too much about it.
Okay, it's been doing good.
Yeah.
First of all, I know that I think it broke even again as far as budget-wise goes. We didn't really lose any money. I know Howie has got, some more people involved in the ice clans. I heard it's got, raised another 30 more kids into the program, which is good, for him and also the arena, because that means more ice time there being used. I do know that there's some repairs in the future we're gonna be looking at as far as that, stuff that's.
Huron, Freon issue.
Yep.
I think Ron's right from an operational perspective. I think last year it came close to breaking even, which is great. But from the capital side, the capital investment side,
Yeah,
there's always gonna be some capital needs, and with that, you know, they're winding down the Freon, you're having to switch everything over. It's really hard to get a hold of those materials, and so I know that was one thing the council opted not to put in their budget for this year because there was a discretionary item. They did eliminate $25,000 they were gonna try to put towards that, but, so, you know, that's gonna be kind of the difficulty, is probably the capital side of it. But it's getting more use, like Ron said, which is, you know, it's a matter of, if people are using it and the council sees that as a priority, then that's, you know, what we'll try and do is keep it going as long as we can.
Is there any, possibility of getting the county involved with that when it's coming to the?
The county has,
repairs, or is that the county responsibility?
they have, as I understand according to the statement, they have to pay half. But we're trying to work with them to find the best option for repairs, you know. Do we wanna spend the money on outdated Freon, or do we wanna just
I think.
bite the bullet and look at changing it over? 'Cause
Wasn't
of
there
the cost
something
of-
that had to be replaced, that Freon had to be replaced?
Well, no,
Because it's the old.
it's still the R22, you can still buy it, but it's outrageously
Oh, okay.
priced, but you can still buy it, and that's, the option we're looking at right now between the ice arena and the council was, how much do we buy now for the leaks and repairs? But you know how much you wanna put in it
Put in
before
for it.
you determine that you have to switch it over. To switch over, it's all new condensers, you know, it's a big change, but it might be worth it in the long run, so that's.
I mean, part of the reason the price has gotten so high is because some of these other ice arenas they're stockpiling.
Yeah.
So like in Mankato, I know that they've got the college hockey, D1 hockey, they bought like 15 years worth of what they're expecting to need ahead of time, and just put $1 million into it, because they said, either that or we're gonna have to spend $5 million to replace everything. So, I mean, Dan's exactly right, is, you know, you stockpile a certain amount, you get a certain period of time, and hopefully you can spread out those costs and then switch it over, but, yeah.
So that's kind of where it's a budgetary item now, you know, we gotta determine how much the county wants to do, how much city wants to do, and which road is the best way. Is there grants, is there, you know, there's just so many options, but not any good ones,
Yeah.
to be honest. So that's the hard part.
Well, you know, I do live by it, and the place is just busy as busy.
It is,
all the
but-
time. So it's like, you know, I haven't heard anybody say how, you know, how the building's holding together well, and.
If you ask them, they'll say it's falling down.
Right.
Well, sure.
But, you know,
Yeah, I know.
it's like anything in the city, it's another service that is being provided, and the city has to determine, balance the cost of.
Yeah.
Right, it's no different from the pool.
No different
You know,
from the pool, it's no different.
There's only 2 aquatic centers in the state of Minnesota that made a profit last year, and they're basically water parks. It's, I think, Bloomington and one of the North Metro ones that are brand new, that they're, you know, 4 slides, and I mean, all the other ones, you know, it's a service,
Well, yeah,
like
yeah,
Dan
right,
said.
yeah.
And, you know, we want people to use it, we wanna have a great community, that's why we do the tree program. We wanna, you know, people like the trees too, well, they like it until they gotta cut their own down and clean it up, and then they don't wanna do it then, but yeah, so no, it's just a matter of what your priorities are and
Yeah.
everything.
So that's another thing, you know, when the council looks at it, that's another budgetary item.
Yeah.
How do you spread that out amongst everybody, you know, 'cause not everybody uses it and benefits, but, you know, so it's services. It's no different than, you know, we tell people we mow the parks and we plow snow, you can plow less often, you can spend less money at the ice arena. I mean, there's so many options that it's hard.
Has there been any talk with them,
With-
with the board? Excuse me, 'cause they got some high ideas.
They always got high ideas, but
Cause they had a fundraiser this weekend, and I was there, and he said, "You're on the park board, have you heard this and this?" And I said, "No, nothing." I mean, they got plans for where the horse arena is, they wanna build there, they wanna build next to Dollar General, and I said, "Have you talked to the county and the city?" "Nope." Well, I said, maybe you should start there before you have these high ideas. I mean, 'cause they have the pull tabs, which is making very good money. So they have high ideas, but they usually, just like the last time they came here, they had all these ideas, but they never talked to the city or the county.
They had a group, a couple guys, or two or
Yeah.
three people show up here, was it about a year or so ago?
Been a year or two.
Year or
Been 2
two
years.
ago, and their objective is try to get another second sheet of ice going.
Yeah.
First of all, their first idea was to put a, we have an outdoor rink out there, was to put a roof or a ceiling over that.
Bubble or something.
A bubble or something, whatever, to do that, but, that, I think, kinda went to the wayside.
Well, and I think,
Then they wanted to add.
They wanted to
south-
add on, yep.
Add on to the south side, to the building, out to the parking lot, to make a better, reception area to go in, add some training rooms, and maybe some office, more space, and maybe some future locker rooms.
Yeah, that was all
Because they
discussed.
had,
How is their relationship with the, I mean, I imagine there's a fair board.
The Fair Board?
Because, I mean, that'd be the biggest question. I know in Blue Earth, we also were the host of the county fair for Faribault County. And that's always a very balance, I mean, you've got to balance it. The fair board's kind of got what they want to do, and then there's the city, and there's the county, and there's all the other people that use it. And so that'd be my first thing. I think you're right. I mean, if, I haven't seen anything, nobody stopped in at City Hall, and I'd be very interested to see it, because, I mean, you have to figure out what's this all gonna cost, and it's not just the construction, but it's the added maintenance cost. Because that's what's gonna, they could say, oh, it'll cost $1 million to build this new building, that's fine, but you're also gonna have $50,000 a year in lights, and the same issue with Freon, and all those other things, Zambonis, all kinds of stuff.
And you gotta, and we have an agreement with Dodge County too, you and that, we have to go through that to make sure that,
Yeah, that they're amenable to it too.
yeah, 'cause
Right.
we're just, the city is just
The holder, basically.
the manager.
We're the bag holder.
Yeah.
We're the manager,
We're the
but,
manager.
I mean, we're in charge of
You're the checkbook.
Yeah, well, but
I mean, it sounds like there used to be more cities that were involved. And
There was at
sometime
one
in the
time when it was
past, they
built.
decided, hey, we don't wanna pay for this anymore, and so the Casson and Dodge
Dodge
County
County.
have split it. But, I mean, from what my reading of that agreement is that it's kind of
Either one of
whoever's
us
last
walk
one
with it.
left is stuck a little bit. And I mean, so hopefully we continue that relationship, but I do think they gotta watch that, because, those costs aren't gonna go down, so.
Yeah, and it's in an agreement where written notice, either one can walk away, the way I understood it, and it's like,
Yeah, well, of course, we don't expect to see any of that.
no, you don't.
But you're absolutely right. I mean, Dutch County's going through some shifts too, and some of these cities, they've even heard already, people, why is Manorville getting this, or why is Casson getting that, and, Hayfield's stuck out, we don't get anything out of this, that kind of, those feelings exist.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on, and there's no definite answer yet. I think there's more time we need to sit down and work with the
Well, as long as we can keep the doors open and people are using it.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Take it one day at a time. Right.
Great, thanks.
Okay. Has anybody got anything else?
Nope. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
All right, second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned, so the next one, February 18th. Am I correct?
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nice
Nice
meeting
meeting
you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yep.
Somebody told me that at Lions Park, you could put volleyball courts.
Lions Park?
Yeah, wasn't it pickleball?
No, we're in the process of trying to get some pricing for a pickleball court.